Uther vs. Anub'arak. Can the light defeat the undead king? What's up, lore masters? Ever found yourself pondering the mightiest matchups in Warcraft history over a cup of coffee? Well, pull up a chair, because today we're tackling a big one. Uther the Lightbringer versus Anub'arak, the undead king. It's the ultimate showdown. Can the pure, unwavering light overcome the cold, unyielding grasp of undeath? Let's dive deep and see what's what. Background of Uther the Lightbringer. So let's chat about Uther. Born in Lordaeron, one of the 7 kingdoms of the human nations, Uther was a paragon of virtue from the get-go. His early life wasn't extensively chronicled, but we know he was a devout believer in the holy light, which is kind of a big deal in Warcraft cosmology. Around year 15 ADP, after the Dark Portal opened, the turmoil of the First War led Archbishop Alonsus Fowl to recognize the need for holy warriors. Thus, the Knights of the Silver Hand were established, with Uther becoming the first paladin. Imagine that, being the OG paladin. No pressure. Uther's connection to the light wasn't just about flashy spells. He embodied its core virtues: respect, tenacity, compassion, and devotion. Remember during the Second War, when he led the defense of Capital City against the Horde? His leadership was pivotal in turning the tides. And let's not forget his mentorship of Prince Arthas Menethil. Uther saw potential in Arthas, training him in the ways of the paladin. Their relationship was kind of like Obi-Wan and Anakin, filled with promise but shadowed by tragedy. The culling of Stratholme, circa year 20 ADP, was a major turning point. Uther refused to follow Arthas's order to purge the city, showcasing his unwavering moral compass. Even after his death at the hands of Arthas, now the Lich King, Uther's legacy endured. In the expansion, World of Warcraft, Shadowlands, we learn that Uther's soul was taken to Bastion, symbolizing his everlasting commitment to duty and righteousness. His impact resonates with paladins and followers of the light across Azeroth. Background of Anub'arak. Switching over to Anub'arak, this guy's story is equally fascinating. Hailing from the ancient subterranean kingdom of Azjol-Nerub, Anub'arak was the king of the Nerubians, a race of intelligent, arachnid beings. During the War of the Spider, around year 10 to 15 ADP, the Nerubians fiercely resisted the encroaching undead forces of the Lich King Ner'zhul. Despite their immunity to the plague of undeath, the Nerubians were eventually overwhelmed by sheer numbers and darker magics. Anub'arak was slain, but Ner'zhul, recognizing his strength and tactical genius, resurrected him as a crypt lord. Talk about a forced career change. As a servant of the Lich King, Anub'arak played critical roles in key events. In Warcraft 3, the Frozen Throne, he aids Arthas, now a Death Knight, in reaching Icecrown Citadel, guiding him through the forgotten passages of Azjol-Nerub to evade Illidan's forces. His intimate knowledge of subterranean pathways and his command over undead Nerubians were invaluable. Fast forward to the events of Wrath of the Lich King, Anub'arak reappears, this time as a dungeon and raid boss. Players faced him in Azjol-Nerub and the Trial of the Crusader. Despite being defeated multiple times, he kept coming back, a testament to the tenacity of the Scourge and the hold the Lich King had over him. Comparing strengths and abilities. Time to stack them up side by side. Uther the Lightbringer. Combat skills. Uther wasn't just a preacher with a hammer, he was a seasoned warrior. His mastery over melee combat was honed through decades of warfare. His hammer, steeped in holy power, was an extension of his will, holy abilities. Drawing upon the light, Uther could heal wounds, protect allies, and unleash devastating holy attacks. Abilities akin to Holy Shock, Divine Shield, and Lay on Hands were at his disposal. He could counteract necromantic energies, a crucial advantage against undead foes. Leadership. Uther's charisma and tactical mind inspired those around him. He wasn't just leading armies, he was leading hearts. His strategies, during pivotal battles, like the defense of Hearthglen, showcased his ability to think on his feet. Anub'arak. Physical prowess. Standing over 15 feet tall, Anub'arak was a tank, literally. His exoskeleton provided natural armor, and his enormous pincers could crush foes. His resilience was amplified by his undead nature, rendering him immune to fatigue and certain magics. Dark magic. Anub'arak wielded necromantic powers. Spells like Impale sent spikes erupting from the ground. Carrion beetles summoned minions from corpses, and Locust Swarm drained the life from enemies. He also possessed abilities to summon and command lesser undead Nerubians. Tactical advantages. A master of subterranean warfare, Anub'arak could manipulate his environment. His ability to burrow allowed for surprise attacks and evasive maneuvers. He could collapse tunnels, create ambush points, and control the flow of battle underground. When you weigh their abilities, it's clear that both are heavy hitters in their own right, each with unique strengths that could counter the other. Hypothetical battle scenario. Let's paint a picture for this hypothetical clash. Setting the stage. Picture the ruins near the borders of the Dragonblight in Northrend, neutral ground, with elements of both above and below ground. The icy winds howl, and the environment is harsh, offering both open spaces and underground networks. Analyzing strategies. Uther's approach. Uther would likely start by invoking protective spells, shields of light to guard against dark magic. He might use Blessing of Protection to reduce physical damage, and Holy Wrath to stun undead enemies. Knowing Anub'arak's penchant for minions, Uther could utilize area of effect spells like Consecration to keep lesser undead at bay. He'd aim to keep the battle above ground, where his mobility and the light's reach are uninhibited. Anub'arak's tactics. Anub'arak would exploit the terrain, using the underground tunnels to his advantage. He might begin by sending swarms of carrion beetles to harass Uther, forcing him to expend energy early on. Then, using Burrow, he could move unseen and strike from unexpected angles. He could also manipulate the icy environment, causing ground instability to disrupt Uther's footing. Possible outcomes. Outcome 1. Uther anticipates Anub'arak's subterranean assaults. Using the light, he sanctifies the ground, preventing Anub'arak from approaching undetected. Forced into direct combat, Anub'arak struggles against Uther's holy attacks, eventually succumbing. Outcome 2. The prolonged battle drains Uther. Anub'arak's relentless minions and environmental control wear him down. Anub'arak capitalizes on a moment when Uther's defenses falter, dealing a critical blow. Factors. Endurance. Uther is mortal and can tire. Anub'arak, being undead, does not fatigue. Environment. The cold, harsh Northrend climate might sap Uther's strength, while Anub'arak is unaffected. Allies. If either side receives support, say, Uther from other paladins or Anub'arak from Scourge forces, the balance could tip. This duel could realistically go either way, depending heavily on circumstances and strategy. Thematic analysis. Diving deeper, this matchup symbolizes fundamental themes in Warcraft. Light versus undeath. The light stands for life, hope, and purity. Undeath represents corruption, despair, and unnatural existence. The conflict isn't just physical, it's metaphysical. Uther's powers could theoretically cleanse Anub'arak, but the Lich King's hold adds layers of complexity. Historically, we've seen the light triumph in cases like the redemption of Calia-Menethil. But we've also seen the Scourge overwhelm even the most steadfast defenders. Looking deeper, the cosmology outlined in the Chronicle series reveals that the light and void are foundational forces in Warcraft. The Naru, beings of pure light, empower champions to combat darkness. Uther's battle with Anub'arak symbolizes this cosmic conflict. Their clash isn't just personal, it's reflective of the eternal balance between creation and destruction, order and chaos. Even the Titans endeavored to impose order, and such battles echo that struggle on a human scale. The role of morality. Uther's actions are guided by his moral compass. Anub'arak, however, operates under the Lich King's dominion, raising questions about free will. Is Anub'arak responsible for his actions, or is he merely a puppet? This contrast highlights the tragedy of characters like Anub'arak, once noble beings twisted into instruments of evil. Narrative significance. Their clash could represent the ongoing struggle within Azeroth between autonomy and control, light and darkness. It mirrors broader conflicts like the Alliance versus Horde and the battle against the Old Gods. In essence, it's a microcosm of the eternal fight for the soul of the world. Fan perspectives and interpretations. Let's see what the community sages have to say. On platforms like the official Blizzard forums and lore-centric Discord servers, debates rage on. Some fans point out that Uther's faith and experience against the undead make him the likely victor. They reference instances where paladins have purified corrupted beings, suggesting Uther could do the same. Others argue that Anub'arak's resilience and tactical genius shouldn't be underestimated. They highlight his survival against numerous assaults and his cunning during the War of the Spider. Fans also speculate about alternate realities, like those explored in Time Walker quests, where outcomes differ. Maybe in one timeline, Anub'arak remains uncorrupted, perhaps even allying with Uther. discussions often delve into the moral complexities of both characters. Uther's unwavering stance could be seen as inflexible, while Anub'arak's lack of free will raises questions about culpability. These nuances fuel rich conversations within the community. Role-playing groups have even staged reenactments of this hypothetical battle, adding layers of interpretation. It's clear that this hypothetical battle captures the imagination of many, offering endless possibilities for discussion. So after all that, where do we stand? Summary. Uther is a paragon of the light, with powerful holy abilities, combat prowess, and leadership skills. Anub'arak is a formidable, undead king, with physical might, dark magic, and strategic advantages. Final thoughts. If I had to pick a side, I'd say Uther edges out barely. His connection to the light gives him tools specifically designed to counter the undead, but it's not a guaranteed win. Anub'arak's unpredictability and the variables at play could swing the outcome. In Warcraft, victories often come at great cost, and heroes sometimes fall, even the greatest among them. This battle would be no exception. Call to action. But hey, that's just me riffing. What do you think? Does Uther's light shine brightest, or does Anub'arak's shadow engulf all? Let's get the conversation rolling in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive nerd out session, hit that like button, share it with your raid group, and don't forget to subscribe for more lore explorations. Next time, we're unearthing the secrets of the Titans. Don't miss it! Shout out to all the lore keepers and community artists who keep the world of Warcraft rich and vibrant. Thanks for hanging out, and as always, may the light bless your path. Peace out.